This episode is brought to you by HASA. Liquid is clearly better. Liquid chlorine is the highest purity, works immediately, has no added cyanuric acid or calcium, and it will leave your pool safe, clean, and clear. And by the bottom feeder professional grade battery powered vacuum system. It sucks to clean pools, so cleaning pools sucks less. Get $100 off with code DVB100.
This episode is brought to you by Skimmer, the #1 pool service software in North America. With Skimmer, you can streamline your schedule, grow your revenue, and keep your customers coming back with 5-star service. Whether you're a one-person operation or an established team, Skimmer is your partner in success. Visit getskimmer.com/poolguy to try Skimmer for free for 30 days.
The Pool Guy Podcast Show. The Pool Guy Podcast Show. The Pool Guy Podcast Show.
Hi, welcome to the Pool Guy Podcast Show. I'm joined today by Terry Arco of HASA. We're going to talk a little bit about the upcoming pool shows and also what HASA is doing with Bob Lowry's residential pool training. It's really exciting that HASA's actually condensing his program and taking it to some of the pool shows and other events around the country in 2026. And you're going to really enjoy Terry Arco talking, of course, about Bob Lowry and about the training material that HASA has available for the pool pros. Are you a pool service pro looking to take your business to the next level? Join the Pool Guy Coaching Program. Get expert advice, business tips, exclusive content, and get direct support. From me, I'm a 35-year veteran in the industry. Whether you're starting out or scaling up, I've got the tools to help you succeed. Learn more at swimmingpoollearning.com.
Hey, Dave.
Hey, Terry, how you doing?
Good. Sorry, I'm a little behind here. It's been a busy morning so far already.
Yeah, so what's new with you?
Well, the New Year's hit, so I can't believe it. We're already in February.
I know.
It's a bit busy time, which is good. All good stuff for the industry, and so I've already been out a lot of places. And I say me. It's ASA, Rinda, all over, teaching, educating, putting on classes, and getting ready to continue to kick in pretty big with the Western show coming up.
Yeah.
We have about actually four shows that are kind of crossing over all in the month of February. It's a busy month for us. So, but definitely going to be at the Western. And I did want to point out that we are offering Bob Lowry's Pool Chemistry for Service Pros. This is an abridged version of the PCTI, Pool Chemistry Training Institute course. So it goes over all the kind of the key principles from Bob, things like, on water balance and CYA and aeration and free chlorine levels, proper free chlorine levels and everything. So we're offering that Saturday at the Western show, which is Valentine's Day, by the way. So bring your wife along, I guess, or your girlfriend. That's 9:30 to 10:45 a.m. on Saturday morning at the Western.
Are you doing that at the other shows too?
Yeah. So that course is going to be offered at a lot of the other shows nationwide, along with a lot of other Rinda Academy courses, HASA courses. We are at pretty much all of the shows nationwide. So anybody in those areas, Southwest Pool and Spa Show, which I think is in Houston this year, which goes right the week after the Western. And we will be there. We'll also be, when we get into March, we have the Everything Under the Sun show in Florida. So out there kind of in the Southeast, we're covering that and we'll have classes there. So check those schedules. I'm also doing some things in actually March 5th, 6th, I'll be out in Arizona, and it'll be the Southern Arizona PHTA is putting on a tabletop and an education day. So I'll be teaching there on the LSI. I'll also be doing a Bob Lowry's course out there at that time. And then a few weeks after that, I believe it's on the 27th, March 27th, there's a day-long education event taking place in the Fresno, Clovis area, California. And we'll be offering Bob Lowry's pool chemistry for service pros in the morning of the 27th up in that Clovis area, I believe is where it is.
So how did you convert the 3 hour plus, training into, looks like it's going to be 45 minutes?
Well, no, it's actually, at the Western show, we don't get as much time as we want.
Mhm.
So we have to abridge the abridged version, if that makes sense.
Yes.
But normally when we do this, a lot of places, and when we like the events I'm going to, it'll be 90 minutes to 2 hours. We usually go.
Okay.
And basically what we've done. So that, anybody who may have gotten certified under Bob or taken the kind of day-long class, really, it was a 6 hour or so class. Basically what we've done is we've just taken all the key elements of the class. And so I don't know a lot of people, if you know that there was the large book, which was about a 252-page book that went along with the course. And that was called Pool Chemistry for Residential Pools. And that's quite intense. And you have it. There it is. Yeah. But then there was also a smaller, about 26-page book called Pool Chemistry for Service Pros. So this course basically is going out of that 26-page book, which that 26-page book is really it's a synopsis of the bigger book. It's just all the key elements honed down. And so that's what we did. We took that, we went from that book, the 26-page book. We created a course from that book, which I think really covers all of Bob's teachings very well. And obviously it's free. It's not a day-long commitment, but you're getting the information you need. And we still do the demonstrations on aeration and so forth in the class.
Yeah, I also have these books that Bob did. Where's my camera? Remember these?
Yes. And I'm glad you brought that up. Those are the IPSA training manuals. And so, I think a lot of people know that HASA, we took on from Bob, and this was Bob's desire. I like to say this because, just so people know, it was in Bob's heart, and what Bob wanted was for his legacy and his teaching, his very vital teachings to the pool industry, to continue to go on and after he passed. Mm-hmm. And he was well aware in the last few years of his life of his mortality, and he knew what was coming. Mm-hmm. And so he approached me, he approached HASA and said, I would really like you to take these teachings on. And so that's what we've done. And so the copyrights have become HASA's from Bob Lowry's, and we own the copyrights to all his information and teaching. Along with that, he also was the copyrights to the IPSA manuals that he has. So we have all of that. And so what we've done on the IPSA training manuals, which are fantastic, amazing, mm-hmm. but we're in need of some editing, in need of some updating, and being brought into more current education teachings and so forth. And so we have worked with IPSA on those training manuals. Since we own the copyrights, HASA does, but we have, basically said to IPSA, we have the copyrights, but we're extending to you the ability, we'll work with you and we'll edit and we'll update and put these together in a 2026 version. Mm-hmm. So I have been working with IPSA on that the last couple of years. And we finally have I believe the 2026 version of the basic training manual has been published. And we're working on some others. We're working on a Spanish version. So those IPSA handbooks are going to get upgraded, and they will continue to recognize Bob as the author and so forth. But we're also updating and kind of bringing them into 2026 with more information and so forth.
Mm-hmm. And the one I have here is actually 2006. It's one of the first editions.
Right.
And it was really life-changing when I picked it up and was reading it, because what our generation of pool guys, this is like stuff that we don't really even pay attention to, where, the flash testing with the
Yes.
OTO, all that
Yes.
stuff. And so when I picked this book up and I saw everything in here and all the stuff I was doing wrong, by the way, it definitely changed how I service pools.
Yes. All those books are great, and they're great from the standpoint of there's just such a great amount of information in the books, but also anything that you can, if you had a subject in mind, like just combined chlorine, something like that, you can go to that book, you can find it in the glossary or whatever, you can look it up, you can find the sections where he talks about that, and everything that you look at is presented. You're getting a lot of chemistry knowledge, but also it's presented in a very accessible, really understandable way, and in a way you can actually take out and use at the pools. Like the next day, you can begin to implement the information that you're getting from those books. And I think that's really the major thing about those books that makes them so good. And I think that's why IPSA continues to use them.
Mm-hmm. And the Pool Guy Podcast Show has teamed up with UPA to bring you affordable, reliable liability insurance starting at just $64 a month. Get up to $2 million in coverage, and the members of my coaching group get an even lower rate. Protect your business and your peace of mind. Sign up with UPA today by clicking the link in the podcast description. And then the course, let's say you're a pool pro and you're doing pools you're just starting and you want to get some basic knowledge of residential pool care. That course is actually perfect because a lot of residential pool pros don't do commercial pools. They're not CPO certified.
Correct. And it's good. The thing about Bob and Bob's teaching is I think just Bob had a special place in his heart for the residential backyard pool professional. Much so. I think he was aware that, hey, there already is CPO, that's commercial. There's, the AFO, other things that were out there, but nobody was really doing anything from an educational sort of on the certification standpoint towards the residential pool tech. And I just think Bob really had a heart for that. I know, one of the first things he did when he came out to Southern California he was living in Georgia. And when he was getting into creating products, inventing products for the pool industry, and he really, he was a chemist. He had 2 chemist degrees. He was a smart guy, but he wanted to really get the feel and the understanding of boots on the ground. And he talks about that's one of the first things he did when he came out to Southern California. He went to a pool service company and went to the owner and said, I want to work for you for free. and I want to learn everything that a service, one of your service techs has to do. And I want to go with them. I want to be at the pool. I want to see what they do. And I think that's the beauty of Bob is, he was an academic. He certainly had an academic brain, but he did not want to come off as an academic. I think he wanted to come off as, someone who legitimately understood what residential pool pros, their challenges, and what they were dealing with. And that's what we address in this class, in this shorter classes 2-hour class. I mean, we start out the class. It's basically, we say, this is for operational pools. This is for backyard pools. This is for you, the pool service technician, the single pole guy that's going in backyards. And we want to address, the 3 main challenges that we think every backyard pool pro faces, which is usually number 1 has to do with water balance. Okay. I mean, David, you're a service guy. I don't think you could legitimately tell us you've never had challenges with water balance in any of your pools or questions or something that's gone wrong there that has caused you to, be stumped.
Mm-hmm.
I think we all face that. There's water balance issues. The other thing is with CYA. our understanding of CYA, our understanding of how it works, what it does in the pool, how it affects chlorine, and those things. That's another part. And then the last one is, and I think this is a big one. You know, I've been doing this 30, 35 years as far as on the side where I'm a troubleshooter for pool guys. And I think the biggest question I always get, or problem or challenge I see, is guys will come up to me and they'll say, I'm maintaining my free chlorine at the right levels and I still have algae. I mean, that's a big one. You know, well, what's the right level to you? You know, and most of the time the answer is 3 ppm. You know, well, I'm at 3, or somebody might say I'm at 5. I'm keeping it at 5, but man, this pool still has algae, and so that's a challenge. That one right there, and why is that happening? And so that's the third thing we address is, you know, what is the proper free chlorine level needed, not only to keep the pool, you know, bacteria reduced and the water safe from a microbiological, I guess, you know, from a kind of illness standpoint, but also to keep algae from blooming and growing. Mm-hmm. And so we address those things. And I know that Bob had such a great heart for those types of challenges, and he really wanted to help the pool pro with those situations.
What I find interesting about Bob is all the pool guys that have contacted me over the years saying that they would actually text him, they call him, he'd answer his phone, they email him, he'd answer right back. So he was not just a teacher, he was someone who was involved directly with the pool pros, answering their questions. It was amazingly, you know, all the people that have shared the personal interactions with Bob Lowry, who is this, you know, a really famous chemist in the industry, calling you back.
Yeah. And, you know, he wasn't a guy that was up in the ivory tower. You know, I mean, he was approachable. And this is kind of turning into a tribute to Bob again, but that's okay. You know, he was approachable. And I'll say about him is very gracious. He was always very gracious to anyone. He would talk to anyone. It didn't matter. And I always say, you know, I was friends with him for many, many, many years, and even closer friends in the last 10 years or so. And I'm not a smart guy. You know, everybody kind of looks at me like, oh, you know, Terry Arco. Well, I mean, I'm just, like I say, I'm just a glorified pool guy. And it's taken me a long time to learn what I learned. And a lot of what I learned because Bob had the patience to answer my questions. And he was always as smart and brilliant as that guy was. He never came off condescending. He never came off as better than you. It was always just, you know, I want to help you with this. You know, we're going to get this figured out.
Yeah, and he invented so many chemicals for the industry. My favorite, I always told him, was liquid pool conditioner. I just love that product for new pool startups. And, you know, someone that brilliant, it can make all these products. And then giving his education and sharing it, again, his humility is unmatched.
Yeah. And that's, if you think about that, and the whole premise of that product was, you know, what's the biggest problem we have with traditional, you know, cyanuric acid conditioner, you know, the granule, or, you know, even the flake stuff or whatever that's there. And it's dissolving. And I think any pool pro knows if the water's colder or cooler, and a lot of times you want to condition in the spring, right? Get ready for the summer. And those temperatures, you know, might not be that good or conducive of where you're going to put that CYA in, and you know, you see it blowing through the filter, or you see it's laying for days and days and days. It's laying on the bottom of the pool. And Bob understood that. Obviously, people came to him and said, hey, you know, like what can I do to get my conditioner to dissolve better? You know, oh, okay, we'll put it in a bucket of warm water. What, you know, just things, all these things. And that product was born out of that issue right there. Well, hey, let's liquefy it already. So we take, you know, we put the convenience in the product.
And if you're interested in other episodes, you can, of course, go to my website, swimmingpoollearning.com, click on the podcast icon on the banner, and there'll be over 1,800 podcasts for you to listen to there. And if you're interested in the coaching program that I offer, you can learn more at poolguycoaching.com. Thanks for listening to this podcast. Have a great rest of your week. God bless. This episode is brought to you by HASA, providing products that deliver clean, healthy water for every aspect of everyday life. The bottom feeder battery-powered vacuum system, portable, powerful, and only weighs 12 pounds. And Skimmer. Get Skimmer, America's #1 pool service software. Podcast listeners can try Skimmer for free at getskimmer.com/poolguy.